Alright here, this is my favorite part, so if you're here, you're here. And we get to talk the money concept. We get a lot of citations here. Some FOFO, some FOA, some Menger, some Mises. We get Robert P. Murphy going to talk about Menger and Mises theories of the money concept. So, FOFOA. FOFO. The measure of any money's store of value is a continuum of time. It is directly linked to demand and velocity. Even the worst money, say Zimbabwe dollars during the hyperinflation, works as a very temporary store of value. Perhaps you read stories or read stories about workers in Zimbabwe getting paid twice a day and then running out to spend it before coming back to finish the shift. This is an example of the briefest time period in which currency stores value. And of course, the idea of a currency storing value or an asset storing value, I think these are euphemisms of language. I don't know another word to use other than euphemism, perhaps metaphor of language, ways that we need to use language in order to express certain ideas. It's just the way that language functions, perhaps. The grammar of our language, the semantics and syntax of it, in order to formulate these communicative information packets of sound. FOA. Was gold a medium of exchange? Yes, but to their own degree, so were the bowls. Was gold a store of value? Yes, but to a degree, so were dinner plates. Was gold divisible into equal, lesser parts to define lesser barter units? Yes, but to a degree one could make and trade smaller drinking cups and lesser vessels of oil. Here's the thing. Store of value and medium of exchange are relative terms. I think that's really important. These are, later we're going to see, these are aspects of the essence of money. Here's the thing. Store of value and medium of exchange are relative terms. Anything real stores value. A painting, a computer, a jewel, and lots of things are media of exchange in various settings or contexts. Dollars, other currencies, cigarettes in jail, etc. And for stores of value, there is a continuum as to how long things store value. What we are talking about is degree. And this gets to the heart of a semantic issue about money being media of exchange and store of value. So I think what's coming out here is that being a medium of exchange and a store of value is just a semantic distinction based on the relativity of their time function? I don't know. Perhaps it'll come out in the next little short bit. So Menger. It appears to me to be just as certain that the functions of being a measure of value and a store of value must not be attributed to money as such, since these functions are of a merely accidental nature and are not an essential part of the concept of money. Okay, so Mises, he says, money is a medium of exchange. But I think more importantly, he goes on to say, it is the most marketable good which people acquire because they want to offer it in later acts of interpersonal exchange. Let's say this again. It's the most marketable good. That's what money is. When it is dictated by a monopolizing force, aka government, you get fiat, and the fiat legal tender, how do you say, falsely influences, or I should say unnaturally. It's an unnatural cause of, of phenomena. What happens because of that whole legal tender situation, are not natural phenomena. But anyhow, they're natural phenomena insofar as they are caused by legal tender dictates and such. But anyhow, it's the most marketable good. And so people, through this marginal utility and then the regression, we shall see, they will continually acquire this marketable good until it froths out over into monetary unit, medium of exchange. And we could go into the awesome physics and cause and effect of why certain things become possible potential monies, and then why the two which end up to be those monies performing those time-related roles, why those ones, we could look at that. But I think most people around here who might be listening to this they already know why this and that, and it's interesting to look at. But it's this most marketable good which people acquire because they want to offer it in later acts of interpersonal exchange. So money is born out of trade, and it's that most marketable, tradable good which people acquire because they can later trade it, because it is so highly marketable. Money is the thing which serves as the generally accepted and commonly used medium of exchange. This is its only function. All the other functions which people ascribe to money are merely particular aspects of its primary and sole function, that of a medium of exchange. Both of the above quotes get at the idea that because money is a medium of exchange, it is also, to some degree, a store of value. Even Zimbabwe dollars were a brief store of value, but being a store of value isn't what money is all about. Being a store of value is not its central function. It is derivative of its being a medium of exchange. Being a medium of exchange is money's essence, what makes money money. This means that, by definition, money's ability to serve as a measure of value, store of value, is secondary. Okay. So Fofo is gonna remind us of his definition of honest money. My definition is that honest money is simply money that does not purport to be something that it is not. As I mentioned above, in the same way that a medium of exchange is to one extent or another also a store of value, stores of value are also to one extent or another media of exchange. The question is one of degree. And this is how, through market forces, we end up with two monies. Being the focal store of value does not make something the best medium of exchange, and vice versa. So Mises says that gold is the money of international trade and of the supranational economic community of mankind. And here's where I have a question for Bill Still. The idea of ending fractional reserve banking, which is going to come up in a second, and also the idea of no more government borrowing. So, balanced budgets, in other words. The question is here, what about savers? Should they be saving in the same medium? And based on this FOFO discussion, would that be honest money if they were to do that? Or perhaps what you're talking about is more for the medium of exchange role, and the global settlement of trade balance or imbalance will be taken care of, perhaps through gold. Or what do you think is or might be that which settles global trade imbalances? So here we have it again. Supranational economic community of mankind. That almost sounds like gold is the money of the superorganism. Superorganism, the supranational economic community of mankind, which is that, okay, supranational we can kind of move out of the way because that's just one of degree. It could just be the economic community of mankind, is where we get, I think, the forces of marginal theory for the money emergence, and also the regression phenomenon for the continuance in use of money. So here's a subtitle: a second money. But what use could we have with a second money? Mises ends up saying, he who owns a stock of goods of a high degree of secondary marketability is in a position to restrict his cash holding. He can expect that when one day it is necessary for him to increase his cash holding, he will be in a position to sell these goods of a high degree of secondary marketability without delay at the highest price attainable at the market. Consequently, there emerges a specific demand for such goods on the part of people eager to keep them in order to reduce the costs of cash holding. The prices of these goods are partly determined by this specific demand. They would be lower in its absence. These goods are secondary media of exchange, as it were, and their exchange value is the resultant of two kinds of demand: the demand related to their services as secondary media of exchange, and the demand related to the other services they render. So there are many secondary media of exchange and store of values, art, land, and gold, from that nice article. So you have many potential, secondary media of exchange, and there are many that are employed. But when we talk about the focal point, secondary medium of exchange, the focal point reserve asset, I think we know where we're going on that one. What Mises is talking about here is the focal point effect. Again, there you go. What Mises is talking about here is the focal point effect. As more people focus on a single secondary money for the purposes of storing value outside of the primary medium of exchange, it starts to develop a separate kind of demand apart from its other uses. Okay, we're just getting to Murphy on Mises and Menger. I think we're just going to split this into one more guy. This is a long discussion, but I think a valuable one. I hope you're still with me. I hope this volume is adequate. Clarity of voice.